Hi everyone, John Pokercher Friedberg here with a very special episode of Stacking Chips, your strategy source for the 2007 World Series of Poker, the Bellagio Cup, and the dozens of other events going on way over there in Las Vegas. I'm out in Henderson today at the Anthem Revere Golf Course. I'm going to be playing some golf and also have a guest out here today whose name is Casey Cagney. He's an online player mostly, plays under the name Teacup Poker, and he's out here for his first World Series. He just turned 21 years old just before the World Series started and was hoping to become the youngest bracelet winner ever, but unfortunately Mr. Smokey beat him to that and crushed his dreams there. But on a more serious note, Casey and I are going to be playing around a golf today. Before that, though, I'm going to have Casey over and we're going to talk a little bit about poker, a little bit about bankroll management, his experience in starting out in the pennies games online and working his way up to the biggest cash games, the 50-100 no-limit games, etc., and as well as his transition into tournament poker. So that said, let's get Casey on the show, and then after that he and I are going to take the day off and do some golfing before we come back tomorrow in the 5K short-handed no-limit hold'em event. Casey, thanks for coming on the show, man. Glad to have you here.
Of course.
So here we are. We're out. We're going to do a little bit of golfing today. But of course we're going to talk some poker first because this is Stacking Chips, so it's not all vacation here.
Sounds good.
So tell us about yourself. You're out here for your first World Series.
Yeah,
in Berkeley.
I've been looking forward to this for about 3 years. I got real into poker about 3 years ago. Started online mostly, and then started playing some live tournaments. And I had to play overseas for the last 3 years because I couldn't play here. I'm not 21. I turned 21 about a month ago, and I was hoping to have a shot at being the youngest player to win a bracelet, but Event 1 took care of that with Mr. Smokey taking down the mixed hold'em.
So you got started playing poker through the online sites and did some traveling over to Europe to play in the major events where you only have to be 18. What's it like playing here in the U.S., playing in the live events at the World Series?
Well, there's a lot larger fields. I've never played in live fields larger than 250 people maybe, and now I'm playing in fields of 2,000 or 3,000. So it's a lot more intimidating just having to work through that many more people, which I haven't done so yet. But yeah, and also I think there's the skill level is lower, which is nice. As opposed to, I was overseas, I was only playing in the 10,000 events where the skill level is obviously a lot higher than a lot of the World Series of Poker 1,500 and 2,000 events.
So you told me that you started playing poker, you started online playing in the smaller games like the pennies and dollar games, right, and eventually worked your way up. You have been mostly a high stakes cash game player, playing in the 25, 50, and 50-100 no limit games. And how were you able to advance so quickly from the small games all the way up into the games, the $10,000, $20,000 buy-in games?
Well, poor bankroll management at first is how I first got there, and then I took a few trips up there and back down, and I hit. My first big win was a $30 tournament, and I was actually playing after my parents had told me not to anymore. I hit a $1,000 win. I came running down the stairs the next morning to tell my mom, and she responded with, "You're grounded for a week," and I couldn't play poker. She got me to read a bunch of poker books, which really helped my game. And I got a few more big tournament wins. I built my bankroll up to like 100,000 just playing the single tables and multi-table tournaments, and then switched to cash. Lost about half of that, and then slowly built back up, and I've swung all around since then. And,
so, I talk a lot about bankroll management, both on the show and with friends of mine that are involved in poker. A lot of people come to me with advice about bankroll management. From what it sounds, you've had some huge swings. You said you've been up to the $500,000 mark more than once, and then back down, and then back up. What do you think it takes for a player to learn bankroll management? Do you think it's something that he or she can just read about and understand, or do you think it really takes going broke?
I think
before you actually...
I've been fortunate enough to never go broke, and hopefully it'll always be that way. And I think there's two types of bankroll management now to be an online player. You have to manage your kind of overall bankroll, And then you also have to manage your online bankroll, because obviously the restrictions on U.S. players getting money in there is great. So you have to have your kind of online bankroll with, you definitely want money that's not on there in case, you know, you tilt and you go crazy. You want to make sure that you can get started again. And so, you know, usually what I use is like a 10 to 15 buy-in rule on as far as my online bankroll.
On the cash games?
On the cash games. And so as soon as I get 10 buy-ins at the next level, then I move up. And that's probably a little volatile, and to do that, I mean, to use that properly, you probably should be doing more like 15. You need to be able to move back down if you go back down to 10 buy-ins at the level before or whatnot. But yeah, so that's what I try and do now. But I haven't always been that way. I've definitely stuck my entire bankroll into one game here or there.
Well, you and I are clearly different, have different levels of risk tolerance. In fact, one of the earlier episodes of Stacking Chips, I think I suggested to players that they have 50 times the buy-in for a cash game. But I will say, you know, when I was younger and I didn't have as many financial responsibilities as I do now, all the time I would put it all on the line. And you know, there were many times when I went broke. I mean, that was on my $500 bankroll, you know, as a poor college student. But you know, it's definitely, now that I have a, you know, mortgage payment, I just have life expenses, so I tend to be a little more conservative with that. I'm also more of a tournament player, and that's probably why I think you really have to have a lot more gamble in you to be a cash game player.
Yeah, I definitely meant the 10 to 15 also as an online bankroll. Like, you definitely need to have more money behind that you can start back up again. It's kind of my get going quick strategy. If I go bust on the online bankroll, you know, I'll put 2,000 and hop into 1-2 games, and then work up from there with the 10 to 15 buy-in. But yeah, I completely agree. It would be a bad system for a full bankroll.
Now, another thing you mentioned to me was that you enjoy, or I don't remember if this is a present tense or a past tense, but you enjoy hopping into the big online games with like Taylor, Cabby, Green Plastic, Prahlad Friedman, Mahatma, Patrick Antonius. He said it's just such a rush to play with those guys and beat them sometimes.
Right.
Is that something you still enjoy doing, or?
No, I've gotten a little smarter. Not my best decisions. I'd probably pull a lot of those sessions back if I could. Those guys are great players. I mean, even if you're playing your best game, your edges fall at best. And, so yeah, I had too much gamble in me, I think, for a long time, and I probably still do. But I don't recommend that until, you know, until you're sure you can beat it. But yeah, those guys are.
Until you're sure by having statistics on paper, factual evidence that you can beat it.
Right.
Not that you know you can beat those
not
guys.
Ego can get big quick.
Right. And you also you have had some success in tournaments. In fact, just 2 or 3 days ago, you came as second in the PokerStars 200 rebuy for about 40K.
Right. Yeah, that was my biggest tournament score. Back when I was building it, I was saying I was playing the single table and the multi-table tournaments. I had a span of about 2 months with maybe, I'd say probably close to a dozen caches of 5,000 or more, and just 100 buy-ins on Party Poker back when that was open. And then as I switched to cash, I just liked being able to leave at any time and basically controlling my hours more. And so I kind of left tournaments completely for a while, and with the exception of the live ones. And then as the World Series approached, I started getting into them again, and now I've had a few final tables on Stars, and I had my big cash this last Sunday, so that was nice.
Awesome. And how's the World Series going for you so far?
World Series has been rough. I've had one small cash in one of the six-handed events, and taken some tough beats, and definitely made my share of bad plays. But a few events left, and hopefully I can make the most of them.
And the next event, I think you and I are both playing in tomorrow's $5,000 short-handed no-limit hold'em.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, best of luck in that event. If you look way back there, one of those buildings is the Rio, where a bunch of guys are over there grinding it out and probably just building themselves with frustration and, you know, playing bad and everything else. But not Casey and I. We're actually here at the Revere at Anthem Golf Course. We're going to be hacking some sticks out here and swinging for the fences, so to speak. So we're going to have a nice day of golf today, and be nice and fresh going into tomorrow's 5K shorthanded event. We're going to have some fun. So, Case, thanks again for coming on the show, man. It's glad to have you. Well, that's it for today's episode of Stacking Chips. Make sure to tune in tomorrow and every day throughout the World Series for more strategy talk, discussions, interviews, and more right here on Card Player TV. And keep those emails coming to stackingchips@cardplayer.com. From John Poker Chip Friedberg and Casey Cagney, we're out of here. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.